And now, our final award for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, the big one. This is for the CFO of the Year Award. To assist with this award, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the CEO of KPMG, Trevor, Hoole.
Thank you, Vusi, and I'm very glad to see that the old adage that you can take the man out of the East, but you can never take the East out of the man, holds true for you and me. George Bernard Shaw once said that we should all be obliged to appear before a board every 5 years and justify our existence on pain of liquidation. Tonight's contestants have certainly passed that test, and congratulations to you all. We've spoken a lot about leadership and the characteristics and drivers of growth and profitability, and how you become and sustain your position as a leader. But I guess the most important thing for me, and if I think of the attributes of a true leader, and those attributes are in abundance tonight, is the ability to develop people, to invoke and invite emotion, to keep things simple, and to put people on the right bus in the right seats, to be authentic and be trustworthy. And for those of you who follow sport will have seen in the newspapers in the last few days the Kevin Peterson scandal and Andrew Strauss's comments that notwithstanding the 335 runs that he scored for Surrey, he's not a trustworthy person and he doesn't want him in his team. And I guess for true leaders, one needs to know who one can trust and make sure that you have those people in your team. Leadership, to my mind, cannot be taught. And it was Oscar Wilde who said, "Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught." He went on to say that above all, you need to communicate and to be visible. I am now going to call for the envelope, although I do have some inkling as to the name that is in there. But as was discussed earlier, we don't want to get this too wrong. And what I will say, and Vusi, you mentioned earlier about in KwaZulu-Natal that there are 2 official languages. And I have to tell you as well that in this area around Sandton and Summer Place in particular, there is an additional language as well, which is Yiddish. And I have to tell you that the man who wins this award tonight is a mensch. Now, what is a mensch? It's a person of integrity, a person of honor, someone to admire and emulate, someone of noble character, and someone who has a sense of what is right. Deon Viljoen.
Thanks, Trevor. Thanks for the kind words. This is most unexpected. I feel very honored, very humbled. You know, in life, you sometimes typically are faced with 2 kinds of challenges. Those that you voluntarily take on with all kinds of passion, and those that, for whatever reason, you inherit. I'm not sure which inspires me most, because both of those equally inspire, but from probably different parts of your being. Interestingly enough, in 2007, just as I was taking over the role of Group CFO at Alexander Forbes, we were in the midst of a private equity bid, which then in July 2007 came to fruition, fairly highly leveraged, and probably one of the last of the private equity heyday of the time. And if I take you back to just a year later in 2008, you'll understand why sometimes it is easier to take on those challenges that are inherited, because at least you can say, I didn't volunteer for this. But as you face those challenges and navigate through what was really tough times, if you recall, a lot of changes in our environment, you rely on people to get through those issues. And frankly, there's a very small team of high elites, if I can call them that, in my group finance team and in the divisional finance teams that assisted throughout that process, and in a number of changes that had to be made during that time, stripping down the group, getting to its strategic core. And as I say, you rely on many people to support you through that process, and very often they inherit challenges that they didn't volunteer for. At the same time, and I always say to people in that, and it was exactly 7 years, which is a bit ironic because I believe life works in sevens, but I also aged in dog years, which happens to be 7 years a year. But you also pick up a lot of wisdom and experience, I guess, during that time facing those challenges. At the same time, you rely on those around you, not only those who work for you, but with you. So I would like to thank my team, the group finance team, as I said, a small team of elite who achieved the impossible, I can tell you that. My group exco colleagues, and then in particular to Edward Kieswetter, who during that time when things are really tough and you have somebody who's absolutely clear about keeping to your higher purpose, it makes decision making easy in very, very tough times. And for the guidance and the leadership, thank you, Edward, much appreciated. Thank you very much.